Welcome back, season 2 of Blunt Thoughts. I am Derekk Gray, here with you again. I appreciate you if you watched during season 1, and we're back better than ever. So let's get into it. So today's topic, we're gonna do top 5, okay? So first, top 5 rappers. Now, this isn't an all-time list with the rappers. This is just my favorite and who I listen to now, who's in my current playlist. So at an honorable mention, we have Young Bands, okay? Ever since he dropped his most recent project, I've been listening to Young Bands a lot more. My favorite song by him is Shorty in Love with All My Bitches. It's one song, but it's like divided into 2. But that's my favorite Young Band song. He's did some songs with Lil Skies that I like. So yeah, my honorable mention, Young Bands. So let's get into the list. Number 5, you have Future. I feel like Future is an OG of the game. He's always been one of my favorite artists since Tony Montana came out back when I was like in middle school in the same damn time. And my favorite Future song now is probably Slave Master off of Dirty Sprite 2, which I feel like is his best album still to this day. Yeah, Future at number 5. Number 4, you have Lil Tracy, okay? Lil Tracy and Lil Peep did music together, and Lil Tracy he's by himself now, but I still continue to listen to his music, okay? So yeah, my favorite song by Lil Tracy is Halo, and it's on Anarchy. Number 3, you have Lil Uzi. That speaks for itself. Lil Uzi is one of the GOATs. 2016 was one of the greatest years of music ever, and he was a big part of that. My favorite Uzi song is probably Dolly or 20 Minutes. In between the two, Uzi goes too crazy. One of the best and most just innovative artists that I've ever listened to. So Uzi at number 3. Number 2, you have Juice WRLD. Juice WRLD is just ridiculous. He's crazy. You gotta love Juice WRLD, okay? My favorite Juice WRLD song, I couldn't even tell you right now because like his catalog is so extensive. He has so many unreleased songs where it's like it's hard to keep up with. So Juice WRLD has to be number 2, and he could be number 1. That's how close it is, okay? Juice WRLD is definitely an inspiration. You know what I mean? And he changed music in a way that I feel like he changed it for the better, especially like just the whole sad boy vibe that, you know what I mean, Peep and Tracy do. Like Juice WRLD does that to a different extent. But number 1, my favorite rapper right now is D Savage. I don't even know how to put it into words. His music is hard. My favorite D Savage song is Pill. Like he has so many songs that I like, it's hard to choose. That's why, but I listen to D Savage every day. Like I wake up in the morning, gotta get ready for the day, I'm bumping D Savage. You know what I mean? I'm going to a party, I'm bumping D Savage. You know what I mean? Like I'm butting D Savage no matter what I'm doing, no matter what the occasion is. Like D Savage gets my mind right. So those are my top 5 favorite rappers. So to review it, number 1, you have D Savage. Number 2, Juice WRLD. Number 3, Lil Uzi. Number 4, Tracy. The 5, Future, and then my honorable mention is Young Band. So, all right, so that was my top 5 favorite rappers. So now we're gonna move into my top 5 favorite or best movies of 2019. So this is movies that I've seen this year. I'm gonna rank them. The year is almost over. I don't think anything else too crazy is coming out this year. So I think we're at the right time where I could rank the top 5 movies of 2019. Number 5, Brightburn. Brightburn was a horror / superhero flick about a kid who had like Superman-like powers, and he just was raising hell for everybody. He was fucking everybody up. It was different. I haven't seen a movie that went that route. You know what I mean? It's basically what Superman do if he was evil, and he did some bad shit. Brightburn at number 5. I suggest check that out. Number 4, you have John Wick 3. That was one of the best action movies I've ever seen. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but there was a scene where there was in a library because he had a bounty out on his head, and so everybody that seen him wanted a piece of him, but he was fucking everybody up. But it was this one dude in the library that tried to test him, and he broke his neck with a book, and after that I was just like, wow. That was one of the coldest fight scenes I ever seen in a movie. So John Wick gets the 4th spot. At number 3, you got Joker. Man, oh man, that was an interesting movie for a lot of reasons. It's one of those movies where it's up for interpretation because like there was a lot of misleading scenes that they didn't reveal to the end. So like, it's a lot of the shit that happened was in his mind, but a lot of it was real life. So it was one of those up for interpretation movies. You had to see it twice. I wouldn't say Phoenix is better than Ledger. I think Ledger was creepier, and like, if you say you have to be stuck in a room with one of the Jokers, I think that Phoenix is more friendly and I could survive more, because Ledger was just raw. It's hard to compare them. I understand they're gonna get compared, but like, one of them got his own Joker movie, and one of them was just a villain in a superhero movie. So for Heath Ledger to have that type of performance as the villain, he's not even the main character of The Dark Knight is Batman. So for him to just be the villain and have that significant of a role that people remember. But for Joaquin Phoenix to have his own movie, he really did do his thing. But Joker, that's my number 3. Number 2, Spider-Man Far From Home. I mean, it's Spider-Man, like, who doesn't go see a Spider-Man movie? But I like what this one did, because it really put Spider-Man in an uncomfortable spot than recent movies. And now that the deal with Sony and Marvel has been renegotiated, we don't get to stop on a cliffhanger now. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Spider-Man Far From Home, you should go see it. I warned you. But at the end, Mysterio revealed his identity to everybody. So now everyone knows who he is. So that's a very compelling storyline for the directors to do for the next Spider-Man. And plus he gets another movie in the MCU. Speaking of MCU, that brings me to my number 1 movie of 2019, and that's Avengers Endgame. That movie was years and years and years in the making, and I've been an MCU fan since the first Iron Man. And I've followed the journey ever since, and I was very satisfied with Endgame, and I'm very excited to see what they do moving forward. My favorite part about Endgame was how, like, we really got to see the aftermath of the snap, and like, it didn't get fixed right away. You know what I mean? We got to see the consequences of what Infinity War happened. And speaking of Infinity War, me personally, now that it's all said and done, I think Infinity War is a better movie than Endgame, but Endgame was definitely the best movie of 2019. It had all the heroes in it, you know what I mean? So if you haven't watched the MCU, go watch it, because Endgame is definitely worth it, and they're gonna keep going. So that's my top 5 movies of 2019 in review. 1, Avengers Endgame. 2, Spider-Man Far From Home. 3, Joker. 4, John Wick. 5, Brightburn. That was my top 5 movies of 2019. Top 5 shows. I used to watch TV a lot more than I do now, but these are off the top of my memory, the top 5 shows in recent memory that I can remember. So number 5, we got Sons of Anarchy. I didn't think I would like it at first, but I kept watching and it grabbed me. One of the best endings to a show that I've ever seen. I was very satisfied with how it ended, you know what I mean? And I don't know, there was some very sad scenes. Spoiler alert, there was one where a character named Obi got beat with a pipe in jail, and it was like Jack's best friend. If you know the characters, you know what I'm talking about. But it was very emotional, certain parts, and it was very action-packed, and there was some deep scenes in there that stand out in my mind. Like if you haven't watched the show, go watch it. Like if I'm putting it on my top 5, it's legit. So Sons of Anarchy, I'm not gonna say no more about it. Just go watch the show. Number 4, Walking Dead. Walking Dead was better early, and it kind of got, I fell off of it for a little bit, but ever since they brought the Whisperers into the show, I've been eyes glued to the TV every week. I like the Savior storyline. Maybe it dragged on a little too long, I'm not sure. But for sure, the Whisperers, they're creepy as hell. And the whole head on the spike thing they did was, God. So Walking Dead, number 4. Number 3 is Power. Power can easily be my number 1. Okay, it's more of a drug dealing show. You got Ghost, who's the main character. He's a former and current drug dealer trying to get out the game and trying to go corporate and go legal, but he still has ties pulling him into the drug game, but he's trying to keep it secret. If you watch TV, you know what Power is. Go watch it. It's one of the best shows ever. We're currently in the mid-season finale, and spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the latest episode of Power, when Ghost got shot, but we don't know who did it. Me personally, I thought it was his son Tyreek, but then it could have been his wife Tasha. I don't think Tommy did it because they were just in the shootout earlier in that show, but it could have been Angela's sister too. But it's on a cliffhanger. So Power is number 3. Number 2, the originals, the vampire show with Klaus, and it's a spinoff to my number 1 show, which is Vampire Diaries. But the originals can easily be number 1, but like I said, Vampire Diaries was so good and so just satisfying for me as a viewer that it had to be number 1. But the originals, like, their characters first started in Vampire Diaries and they became so popular within that show that they got their own TV show, and it's just as good as Vampire Diaries. But number 1 is Vampire Diaries. Oh, best show I ever watched, and it's that, like, I want to watch it again. Damon and Stefan and Elena and just the whole cast, man. It was just, I remember sometimes I wish I could rewatch my favorite show twice, but Vampire Diaries is definitely the best show I've watched so far, so that's number 1. So Vampire Diaries 1, the originals; 2, Power; 3, Walking Dead; 4, Sons of Anarchy; 5. That's my top 5 favorite TV shows.
Game